What's up everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood French Canadian. Now I have been absolutely dying to share this build with you guys. Are you tired of being a lowly, tarnished? Or what if I tell you, you can become a Sith? Literally, as soon as I saw there was red lightning spells in this game, my first thought was, is this Star Wars? And I have been so excited working on this build for a few days. I can't wait to show you guys what I came up with. I'll show you everything you need to know to make this build, from the gear I'm wearing, to the stats, to the weapons, and the incantations, as well as how to fight with this build. So first, what you want to do is get high ground. So first we're gonna start off by getting all the incantations that we need. You want to take your buttock to the Crumbling Ferrum, and you want to take this Site of Grace, the Crumbling Beast Grave Depth. And this is the linear path you need to take as you're going through this area anyway, so you cannot miss this place. And we are going to be fighting our way through a few enemies. Make your way down here. There will be more enemies to fight. And once you've cleared this room, I'm pretty sure it's on this body. If not, it drops off of one of these guys, so make sure you clear this room. Once you get your prayer book, Brother Corin might be dead in your game. He might not be. It depends where you're at. So what you can do instead is go to the Church of the Vows in Liurnia of the Lakes, right here. And you can give the book to our turtle friend right here, and you'll be able to purchase the incantations. So the one you'll need is called Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike. That's the one we're going to use. Now the next incantation we need is a BloodFlame Blade. It's going to be located in Liurnia of the Lakes again, right next to Rose Church. It's going to be in this area right here. Now I already have it, but I'll still show you where the scarab is going to be. So if you make your way to the lake right here, you'll see my position. The scarab should be around this area. Now the other incantation we're going to use is Vyke's Dragonbolt, which gives you an overall buff on your damage. Now I previously made a guide on how to get this, as well as the entire armor set. And you're going to have to go to the Lord Contender's Everjail and fight the boss here, which is Vyke himself. And you'll get Vyke's Dragonbolt. It really gives you that Sith look, and it makes you do a ton more damage to enemies. And it also lasts a surprisingly long time, so you won't have to do it like a million times in a battle. You can stack a BloodFlame Blade onto this, except it will reduce the damage because essentially it will remove the Dragonbolt buff from your weapon. So what you want to do is actually use a BloodFlame Blade once the Dragonbolt buff is off. Next up is the Bloodblade Ash of War. We're going to get this in the Altus Plateau. I already put a marker here. You want to take the Erdtree Grazing Hill Point of Grace and make your way down here. And as you come down this hill, you'll see that the scarab is flying in the air right here, and all you need to do is get close to him. He'll drop down, or you can, beam him with something long range. And that's the Ash of War that we will use for this build. Now I want to use Bloodblade because you can do it in rapid succession, and right now with the Bloody Slash nerf, it's actually faster. So I would highly suggest using this. Not to mention it costs less FP to use, and it only takes away your health the first time you do it. So if you continue the combo, then it doesn't continuously drain your health. Now BloodFlame Blade is really helpful for this build because it will stop enemies' blood loss bars to go down when you stop hitting them, which means you'll get proc way quicker. Now that we have our incantations, we need a Sacred Seal to be able to cast them and use them. The one we're going to use for this build is the Dragon Communion Seal. You can get it right at the beginning of the game. And this boosts Dragon Communion incantations, but the reason we're using it is because if you look in the attribute scaling section, it actually scales with Arcane, which is the main stat we're going to be using with this build. So to get the Sacred Seal, you have to go all the way back and take the Stranded Graveyard Site of Grace. You'll all have this. If you don't have this, you can take the first step, take the elevator down, and you'll be here already. Once you come here, you want to use 2 stone swords if you haven't done this already, and you're gonna make your way through this hero grave. I'll show you the quickest path to be able to get to the Dragon Seal. Honestly, I've done this at the beginning of the game and I completely missed the seal, so I'll show you where to go. You're gonna want to wait for this guy to come back up, and then we're going to follow him down. Bodied. Now you want to run all the way down here and you don't stop. Even if you hear him, he has to turn around the corner, which will take him a while, so make your way down here and then you can safely get here as he comes by. Actually, we could have gone even, but whatever. It's fine. Now, don't ever stop running. Don't fight any of these guys that are just gonna spawn up here. Ow. And this is where the seal will be. So once you fight him, the seal will be on this body on the ground. Now for the weapons, there's a few you could choose from. I would suggest using dex weapons, but that's just me. For this build specifically, I'm using the Uchigadana and the Rivers of Blood. The Uchigadana is the starting weapon of the samurai, or you can also get it in Lingrave really early on. If you run all the way right here to the Death-Touched Catacombs, which you can reach once you go through the gate front of Stormville Castle, and instead of going into the castle, you go right uphill and you'll see it. Now the Rivers of Blood is found right here, the Church of Repos. You will find an NPC and he will drop this katana. Now I'm using it in my offhand because if I use it in my main hand, I won't be able to apply the buffs to my weapon. So once you apply the Blood Blade, the Ash of War to your weapon, you want to choose Keen because the dex will now be A, which means you'll be able to maximize your damage since this is going to be an arcane and a dex build. So if we were to use standard, for example, we would get 281 damage plus 187 from the points we have in dex. If we use keen, however, we have 250 damage plus 270 bonus damage from our dex. And now I'm using katanas specifically because they already have pretty high blood loss buildup, but a lot of dex weapons also have a blood loss buildup. So you can use whichever one you prefer. You can use the twin blade, which would be good, scimitar, any kind of curved weapons really. It's up to you. So this is what the stat distribution is going to look like if you're at level 141. Ideally you want to be around 150, but this is what I have. 40 vigor, 26 mind, 22 endurance, 50 dex, 21 faith, and 40 arcane. Now we need 26 faith to use the lightning spell, so what you do is you bump your faith up to 21 and then you use the America's Sorceal Talisman, and there you go, your faith will be at 26. So that's how you save points for this build. But it also increases your mind and your arcane, so it's really good for this build overall. And if you're using the Prosthesis Wearer or Loom, we're also going to have 55 dexterity, so this is what your stats should look like with all the talismans on. And again, we keep our faith that low because the sacred seal we use for the incantations scales off of arcane, so the damage you're going to get is actually going to be an arcane, so you don't need to pump up faith a lot, just enough to be able to use that spell. And ideally, I think you would want at least 45 vigor, 35 mind, dexterity can stay at 55, and arcane at 50. So these are the numbers I would shoot for personally, maybe endurance at 25 as you level up further in your New Game Plus. Next up, we're going to look at the talismans I'm using. You can choose different ones, but this is what I like to run. Carrion Filigreed Crest, Prosthesis Wearer Heirloom, America's Sorceal, and Lord of Blood's Exaltation. So for the Filigreed Crest, it lowers your FP consumption, and it's useful because that lightning attack does take a lot of FP. And what you want to do is go to Road to the Manor, Site of Grace, talk to War Counselor E.G. He will sell it to you as you progress through Ranni's questline and Blade's questline. I was able to buy it right after I met with Blade in Siofra River. Then the Prosthesis Wearer Heirloom, which I really like, gives you 5 more points into dexterity. You're going to find this in Caelid. Basically, that's what you get for completing Millicent's questline. You can start this questline here in Gallery's Shack, and you'll find Millicent at the Church of the Plague. America's Source Seal gives you +5 to Mind, Intelligence, Faith, and Arcane. Now you will find this talisman in the secret Haligtree area. If you've been here already, you want to take the prayer room, Site of Grace, and I'll show you where to go from here. They just killed each other, that's really funny. So you want to drop down. You want to drop down here. Ow, if you don't get killed by these guys. Roll your way here. Now if you sneak past here, sometimes the Revenant will not spawn, so I'll just sneak past to show you. We're going to be a sneaky Sith. I usually take the left. Oh, he spawned anyways, damn it. Anyways, you want to make your way through here and don't bother fighting these guys, they're really annoying, especially out in the open. So go into the room right behind them. That's where the talisman will be. Right in here. Excuse me, sir, how can you even make it? So these guys technically cannot get into that room, but he teleported and he killed me in 2 seconds because I was not expecting it. Now the Lord of Blood talisman, blood loss in vicinity increases attack power. So the second you cause blood loss to an opponent, your attack power will increase. To get this talisman, you'll need to find Esgar, Priest of Blood, and he is located in the royal capital, in the Lendl Catacombs. Now it's a bit of a trek to get down here, and I can't show you because of where I am in the story. So I can't show you the entire route to get there, but I did see a lot of guides showing you exactly where it is. So I'm sure you can find it, and maybe a bit later I'll make a guide myself when I get there on my second character. So moving on to the armor I'm wearing. To get this set, you need to progress Ranni's quest to the very end. When you come back here to where Celavis is, to his tower, and you can then loot his entire set from him. Now let's say you hit him while you were doing the quest and he disappeared. What you want to do is go to the Church of Vows, where the Turtle Priest is, and you're going to need some Celestial Dew, which you should have at this point in the story, and you'll be able to absolve of your sin at that church, and then once you come back, his body will be there with the loot. Now to get the Bandit Mask, it's a vendor in Limgrave. Now it's nice because of the update we can actually see him on the map, so you want to take the Saint's Bridge, and he'll be right here. He'll be selling the mask for 1500 runes. For the legs, it really doesn't matter what you wear. I often use some heavy armor because the chest armor is pretty squishy, it'll make you squishy, so I try to wear some armored greaves with it. But again, you can choose what you like best. And finally, for the gauntlets, you want to use Melania's Gauntlet. You can purchase it from the Maiden Husk at Roundtable Hold after you defeat Melania. Now my Star Wars fans here will understand the reference of using a prosthesis arm for this build. So the way you want to fight with this build is pretty simple. First off, apply the Dragonbolt buff. If there's more than one enemy, you're going to want to use the lightning, which we'll use now if I don't get hit, and I got hit. But look at all the damage and all the enemies it hits. It's really good if you're being jumped on, just as I was. And then you're just going to use your katanas to apply bleed, do most of the damage. If you want to play a bit safer, you can use Bloodblade, and this will also proc the blood loss using the blade. Using the Bloodblade, I mean. And if this buff eventually wears off, you want to apply BloodFlame Blade, especially on a boss. You know, you really want to make sure to get the blood proc quickly. The Lord of Blood's Exaltation Talisman will make you do more damage overall. So let me know what you think about this build. I think it's super fun. And again, the freedom you have with this game, the possibilities of all the combinations you can do is just freaking insane. You can definitely play around with it, make it even better. I tested a lot of things, and to me this is what personally works best, and what I think you'll get a lot of enjoyment out of. Thank you all for watching, have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon.